Jacksonville Jaguars fans, welcome into Duval Daily presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan DeLugo. Thanks so much for being here Thursday, August 14th. It's been a busy day so far. Obviously, the Jaguars had what was training camp practice number 15, but it was also a full scrimmage. It was a lot of work, 11 on 11, Jaguars versus Jaguars, getting after it today for almost a couple hours. Practice was 9:45 to 11:45. I think it got cut just a little early because they got in the work they wanted to get in. It was getting hot. They were working hard. But there was 4 periods of, getting ready, positional drill type stuff. And then it was scrimmage the rest of the practice. So it was a big time practice in terms of the work they got in. There's going to be a lot to correct on both sides. For sure, but we're going to dive into it. Really appreciate y'all being here. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. You can also check out genjag.com/shop. If you want to support the channel further, pick up some new Duval gear. Look good while doing it. So, Jaguars, training camp practice number 15, inter-squad scrimmage. Tyson Campbell, who is day-to-day. I did see him out there today working on the bike, so there is, I don't want to say progress because you can see guys working on the bike for weeks and weeks. I don't know. The bottom line is we're at a point in the season where teams don't have to disclose much about injuries. The Jaguars have not disclosed much about his injury other than that he is considered day-to-day. Day-to-day is certainly better than week-to-week. It's better than out for training camp. So still day-to-day as far as we know. We did not hear from Liam Cohen after practice. We heard from Grant Udinski and Trevor Lawrence. Highly encourage y'all to go check out those press conferences. But Liam Cohen, had he been available to the media after practice, probably would have given a little bit more information, asked questions at least about certain things. So there's some things we still don't know, such as like injury updates and also kind of the status for this weekend's preseason game against the Saints. Like, are the starters going to go? I think the starters, I err on the side of caution a little bit, but I also am keenly aware that the Jags are in year one of a completely new philosophy on coaching on both sides of the ball, completely new offense, completely new defense. They probably need the work. I think based on what we're seeing in practice, based on what we saw last week, they probably need the work. They're not going to play in preseason week 3 against the Dolphins. They're going to have their joint practice, and that's probably going to be it. I think that this was kind of to simulate a joint practice without actually having a joint practice, inter-squad scrimmage on a Thursday, where a lot of teams today are doing joint practices. But again, I think the team needs more work against other teams before week 1. I will say that, but I also know you got to err on the side of caution. I'm glad I'm not the one that has to make that decision. Point blank, period. Mason Smith is back, which is exciting. Now, activated from the active/PUP, physically unable to perform list. Always saying that and typing that is always weird. Activated from the active/physically unable to perform list. He was already technically on the active roster, right? But now he's ready to practice, and once you get activated from the PUP, you cannot go back on the PUP. If you do, you're out for the year. So they feel like he's at a point where he's ready to start ramping up. Now, that does not mean he is competing in team. He's competing in positional drills right now and individual, but he's not ready yet. They're not putting him in a team situation. So no, he was not out there during the scrimmage doing 11 on 11. They're going to work up to that type of stuff. I would imagine at some point, maybe next week, maybe joint practices. You'd probably like to get him going against his guys before he starts going against opponents. So maybe he's a player that suits up against the Dolphins. Maybe they just don't play him at all during preseason. I don't know. You would like to see him. You'd also like to see Eric Armstead, who is working to the side. He's out there. He's working. He's trying to get back to being ready to play, with his team, it seems like. So hopefully good news on the injury front for your defensive tackles. Hopefully Tyson Campbell can come back soon. There was a couple things I saw today injury-wise. Anton Harrison was getting looked at on the side at one point. I didn't see him come back after that. Chuma Edoga limped off. You had Wyatt Milam, Fred Johnson, Walker Little, I think even Patrick McCary all taking right tackle snaps today with the first team with Anton going down. So, and I don't think Anton has anything serious, but remains to be seen. Again, the coordinators aren't going to talk about injuries. Really, generally speaking, you're going to have to get that from the head coach, and we'll just have to see there. But the Jaguars do have some versatility with their offensive line. You obviously hope Anton Harrison can go. Travis Hunter today started practice on the defensive side of the ball, did all the individual and position stuff on defense. Then he went and played offense about halfway through the scrimmage. So he did play both sides during the scrimmage. We'll definitely talk about how he did. He was with the first team on both sides. We sat in the stands during most of the scrimmage. The media did. Usually that's not available to the media, but today it was. So a little bit of a different vantage point. I thought that was interesting and just something to note. We did almost have a fight. Bashal Tutin, Jarian Jones getting after each other a little bit. Walker Little comes in, kind of pushes Jarian off, and that's it. It was very tame, but temper's flaring a little bit. It's hot. It's edgy, right? So getting into the team stuff, we're going to talk about we're going to go through my team notes, and then we're going to go through the Trevor Lawrence stuff. So Trayvon Walker had a really nice run stuff early on. I think the second play, the 11-on-11 against Travis Etienne, he beat his block. He made a play against the run. No surprise there. Josh Hines-Allen had a sack, and I can already go ahead and tell you Josh Hines-Allen had multiple sacks today. Multiple would-be sacks. So can go ahead and just tell you Josh Hines-Allen played really well. Trayvon Walker played really well. Travis Etienne did have early on a nice run, had a big hole that the offensive line opened up on the left side. Nick Mullins had a big screen pass to Bashal Tutin that was well blocked. It was good to see Tutin get out there and catching passes, making plays. Patrick Herbert, I almost said Justin Herbert. Patrick Herbert had a really nice catch down the field today from Nick Mullins. So good to see Patrick Herbert making some plays. Christian Braswell had an impressive pass breakup against Joshua Cephas. Tight contested coverage. Cam Little was 2 of 2 on his field goal attempts, 1 of 1 on his PAT. Maybe 2 of 2. The offense scored twice. Jaguars starting offense scored twice. I don't know if he did a PAT on all of them, but he was perfect on all his kicks. That's the point of that note. Dewey Wingard early on in this practice was making some plays. He smoked Etienne at the line. And no, it was a good tackle. Etienne went down quickly. This wasn't really supposed to be like a full, tackle to the ground type of scrimmage based on what I saw, but, Dewey did his thing and tackled Etienne and got him down at the line. And I jest about that because it seemed like Tank Bigsby got mad the other day when I think it was Rick who tweeted that Dewey smoked him for a safety. And, I don't know what you want to define smoke as, but was it a clean tackle where Dewey got these guys down in the backfield? Yeah. So good for Dewey coming off the edge there. He had a really good drive on that one. He picked off a Trevor Lawrence pass that wasn't really a Trevor Lawrence pass because there was an offside. So it was Trevor Lawrence taking a shot down the field. It was not a good pass by Trevor Lawrence, but it doesn't count against Trevor Lawrence because he wouldn't have thrown it unless there was a defensive offsides. It was one of those things where it's like, okay, we're going to take a shot here since we got the offsides, which is what you want to see the quarterback do. You'd like to see him deliver a little bit more accurate pass, but either way, good play by Dewey. Dewey had multiple run stuffs and the interception that wasn't really an interception, but still a good play. Logan Cook saw him bomb a punt down the field. He got one inside the 10-yard line. It was good to see him do that. Ethan Downs had a would-be sack. After that, Seth Hennigan completed the ball deep to Dorian Singer. So you have all these people like, No, Downs got the sack before that. And that happens a lot in practice where the quarterback will continue the play even after he would have been sacked. Chandler Brayboy caught a really nice screen pass and had some space. And I know that he's got some inconsistencies. Sometimes he doesn't have the most consistent hands, but he can fly. He can absolutely fly. So he is fun to watch once he gets the ball in his hands. And he's fun to watch run routes because he can really run. Jaquindon Jackson was running really physical today. Seth Hennigan had a touchdown pass to Cam Camper. And Cam Camper had himself a day. He caught that touchdown pass. He also had a nice catch, intermediate catch, but over 10 yards. It was a first down that they picked up on that play from John Wolford, BK, quarterback. Shout out. And then he also drew a pass interference deep down the field later on. So, like, Cam Camper had his most productive practice for sure. Nick Mullins, I'm having a real hard time with being your QB2. Does he do the backup quarterback thing where he's good for the room, he's smart, he helps out the starting quarterback and things like that? Yes. Do you want him to be the guy that goes on the field if your starting quarterback gets injured? I don't think so. I'm not ready to sit here and say that Seth Hennigan should be the QB2 for the Jaguars because there's just so much as an observer that you don't know about what the quarterback knows or understands about the offense, how ready he would actually be in a real game, things of that nature. But I am willing to say this. Seth Hennigan is definitely the best thrower of the football on the team, not named Trevor Lawrence, by a wide margin. He is a better arm. He's a better thrower than Nick Mullins or John Wolford. Does that mean he should be QB2? I don't know. I really don't. I think that would be a question that we'll find out the answer to, but that the offensive coordinator and then the head coach would be more able to really decipher that better than someone who's just watching. And I would honestly say right now, if there was an injury to QB1, you'd probably be on the market for somebody to come in and start. I think that might just be how they're going to handle things. You've seen teams in the Sean McVay tree handle it that way. Kevin O'Connell, Grant Udinski in Minnesota, when they had Nick Mullins, they would go out and get other quarterbacks if they needed a starter. You've seen the Rams do that before, going out and getting Baker Mayfield during Liam Cohen's season as the offensive coordinator there. So I think maybe that would be the path, but I just don't think Nick Mullins is somebody you want on the field. I will definitely say that. Jordan Jefferson had a would-be sack. 3 false starts on the day. I believe it was only 3. I say only. But yeah, false starts continued to be a problem, unfortunately, today for the offense. It was more so the backups than the starters. But that's not good enough. You had some penalties on both sides. You had some offsides on the defense. You don't want to see that. That's something they got to improve, the mental pre-snap stuff. They got to keep working on it. They got to keep drilling it. Devon Hamilton sacked Nick Mullins. I have a note here that says, give me Seth Hennigan. But again, yes, much better passer, much more live arm than the other two, but I'm not willing to say that he should definitely enter the game if Trevor goes down yet. Although I just don't know what type of real upside Nick Mullins gives you at all if you have to put him in. Dennis Gardeck, got him out there in teams, and he made an impressive tackle. It was good to see him after starting camp on the PUP list. Tootin at one point did get in with the ones, Bashal Tootin. I've been kind of advocating for Bashal Tootin to maybe be the top back. Not the lead back in terms of like a workhorse, but a lead back in a timeshare running back room right now. I think Bashal Tootin should be. As I mentioned, you almost had that fight. De'Ami Brown had a nice long run. That was good to see from him. Obviously, if De'Ami's having a run, you know what type of play that is probably. And then getting into first team offense type of stuff, Trevor Lawrence's day today was 17 of 26. We're going to roll through the notes here. First throw was a nice throw, a drop by Brian Thomas Jr. So you had drops today. You had penalties. You had the things you don't want to see, right? And you also had a few miscommunications. So the Brian Thomas Jr. drop was unfortunate. That was his first play of practice. He did play well after that. I mean, he made some plays after that. We'll get to it. But one thing I keep seeing, and I was trolling some folks on Twitter earlier, blaming Trevor Lawrence not having the ability to throw with touch, blaming that on the receivers dropping the ball. No. The receivers have dropped the ball from every quarterback. They've dropped more passes from the backup quarterbacks than they have from Trevor Lawrence. This is not a Trevor Lawrence issue. And when I chart a drop, that is not a contested catch. That is not a pass where the defender got a hand in there. That is not a pass where it was a 50-50 ball. This is a pass where the receiver had it in their hands, was in the process of bringing it to their body, and it popped out, right? That's a drop. Or it just sails straight through your hands. That's a drop. Anyways, second play, pass play, hit Brian Thomas Jr. on a comeback. That was great to see, right? Go right back to your guy. Love to see that. Third pass play was a completion. I did not see that one. Fourth pass play, also a completion. Complete to... It says complete to Tyson. That is obviously a typo. I think it was to Travis Hunter. Doesn't really matter. But there was an offsides on the defense anyways on that one. One of those offsides we talked about. The fifth pass to drop him to 3 of 5 was a drop by Hunter Long. He's had some drop issues for sure. Completed a pass to Brenton Strange and completed another pass to Austin Trammell. Completed another pass to Travis Etienne with lots of green grass in front of him. Completed another one short to Parker Washington. So he had a nice stretch there where to start practice, he was completing everything. If it wasn't a completion, it was a drop. And then the next play was an incompletion to Johnny Munt, but pass interference. So it's not an incompletion. Pass interference on Andrew Wingard. That was, very easy to see that one. Dewey definitely tried to hold up Johnny Munt there. Don't know that it would have been completed, but it was definitely pass interference. Jarian Jones had a pass interference after that. The next play, offsides on the defense. Trevor took a shot. That's the one where Dewey got it, but not an interception for Trevor because he was just taking a shot after an offsides. Josh Hines-Allen again, another sack. After that, Trevor Lawrence took a shot deep to Parker Washington and completed it. But similar to the Andrew Wingard interception, the Trevor Lawrence completion to Parker Washington deep does not count because Josh Hines-Allen would have sacked him. That's at least how I'm tallying it. So next pass where there wasn't a pass interference or a sack or an offsides was a short completion to Travis Etienne, then had another short completion to Austin Trammell. This was end of half type of situation. Offense had to call a timeout, wasted a ton of time before they called a timeout, and then the coaching staff just took the starting offense off the field. I think there was a little bit of frustration. Needed to talk about that situation there. Next throw was a completion short to Brenton Strange, then another completion short to De'Ami Brown, completion short to Travis Hunter. Then you had a false start. Then you had an incompletion where it was just another throw I didn't see, but it was an incompletion. Then you had another false start. So you did have 2 out of 3 plays were false starts. Very ugly there. Had a completion to Strange for a medium gain there to get to 13 of 16. And then you get into the red zone. Red zone work. Completion to Travis Etienne for a medium gain to get to 14 of 17. Had 2 straight incompletions to Travis Hunter. And it looked like both of them, there was just a little bit of a timing or spacing issue where neither of them was like a deep pass, but it just didn't look like they were on the same page. Was it a bad pass? Was Travis Hunter not in the right spot? Was it timing? I don't know. But 2 straight incompletions there, and then a completion to Brian Thomas Jr. To get to 15 of 20. Then Jarian Jones broke up a pass. That was a good play by him. I think it was on De'Ami. It was almost picked off by Jordan Lewis after that, but it did fall to the ground. So 15 of 21 on that one. Not a bad throw by Trevor, just a better play on the ball by Jarian than De'Ami. Then 16 of 22 had a nice completion to Travis Hunter. I think he would have scored a touchdown. They marked him down at like the 6-yard line, which is fine. I did not give Trevor the touchdown for that one, but to me in a game setting, I do think Travis Hunter scores the touchdown on that one. On the very next play, Trevor Lawrence does find Brian Thomas Jr. He was rolling out to his right. Brian Thomas Jr. coming across the field, finds him, not like contested, but pretty tight window. Nice throw there from Trevor to Brian for a touchdown. So after that first play where they couldn't connect and Brian Thomas Jr. had the drop, BTJ had a really good practice after that overall. Next throw, tried to hit Brenton Strange down the field. Jordan Lewis was all over it and let Brenton Strange know about it after the play. Next play, gave Travis Hunter a shot down the field. And Travis, he had to extend forward and dive for it, but he did get both hands on it. So he was mad he didn't catch it. Overall, that's the type of play like that. If he catches that, it's like probably a Sports Center top 10 type of play. So I wouldn't give Travis Hunter a drop on that one. I also wouldn't say it was like a completely inaccurate pass. It was just one of those ones where you take a shot, you try to have your superstar athlete, unbelievable young player make a play, and it just didn't quite work out on that one. So he fell to 17 of 25, and then the final throw for Trevor, he gave Brian Thomas Jr. a shot down the field one-on-one with Jarian Jones. Jarian Jones broke it up. So Jarian definitely made a lot of plays today, but also had a pass interference. I think that's indicative of what we've seen from him. He'll be handsy at times. He'll get called for penalties at times, but he's also going to make a lot of good plays for you. So a little up and down for both sides, in my opinion. Trevor Lawrence today, 17 of 26, 2 dropped passes, no interceptions, no turnover-worthy plays, few plays where it just looked like a little bit of a miscommunication. Other than that, solid practice for Trevor, I think. He's now 189 of 288, 26 touchdown passes, 6 interceptions, 14 drops, 3 turnover-worthy plays. I really think this is a football team that needs to play more. I think they need to play in this preseason game. If they do, you really hope that there's no injuries. But this, to me, is not a team that looks ready to win a regular season game. That'll do it. Really appreciate y'all tuning in. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. Y'all have a good one.